with Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira going down this weekend for the BMF title, I thought, what better time than to make a UFC BMF pound-for-pound top 15 rankings. So in this video, I'm going to be going through the blokes that I think are the baddest motherfuckers in the UFC. The criteria I'm using is just cooked logic, blokes who stand and bang, have a sick, entertaining fighting style, show up, don't pull out of fights, they're active, they take on all comers, and they go to war every time, and they're the type of fighters that just get your heart pounding every time they step in the cage. These guys are the ones that make us true UFC fans and the reason we watch the sport. So here we go, the top 15 pound-for-pound BMF fighters in the UFC right now, according to Punch-Ons. Here's a couple of honourable mentions. Kyoji Horiguchi. This feisty little fucker has got a 36-5 record. He humiliated and dog-walked Tagir Ulanbekov. If you watch that fight, you'll know exactly why he needs to be in this list. What a man. Not only that, but he called out Alexandre Pantoja, who is one of his main training partners, and he just says, "It's just a business." So that's the kind of attitude we want to see. Even though he's at flyweight, this guy is built different. I love me some Kyoji Horiguchi. He's getting an honourable mention. So is Paddy the Baddie Pimblett. This one might be controversial, but I reckon Paddy deserves to be in the list. He's a complete blockhead, even though he doesn't really look like a guy who's one of the most dangerous, nasty men in the UFC. That fight against Justin Gaethje definitely proved it. He's definitely not going to be winning any prizes for the most intelligent UFC fighter, but as far as BMF, bad cunts who just talk shit with an iron chin and go into the fire, Paddy deserves to be here. Another honourable mention, Gregory Robocop Rodriguez. This bloke is a marauder. You just have to look at him to know he's been through some shit. He's got insane power. He just charges forward, trying to get a KO at all times. He fights his own countrymen, which is something that a lot of these other guys don't do. And the final honourable mention goes to Derek the Black Beast Lewis. He has the most knockouts in UFC history. He's funny as fuck, which also earns him some bonus points. Completely unhinged. His post-fight antics get him some bonus points as well, where he chucks his box into the crowd, moons the crowd. His post-fight celebrations are all time. This guy will fight anyone. He just never turned down a fight in the heavyweight division. Anyone who's ever been anything in the heavyweight division has had to go through the Black Beast or die trying. I will say he's kind of fallen off lately. He looked like a bitch against Waldo Cortez Acosta. That's why he's only in the honourable mentions. All right, let's start the list for reals. Coming in at number 15, controversial pick, Sean Strickland. I think Sean deserves to be in the list here. Not too far up it, but definitely in the top 15. This guy is based. He shit talks non-stop. He called out Izzy for the fucking dog fondling that he did. That was one of the best moments in UFC history. This guy is legitimately unhinged. He's got daddy issues. There's so many fucked up things wrong with Sean Strickland, but that's why we love him. That's what makes him the crazy, unhinged fighter that he is. He's always down to scrap. And look, even though not all of his fights are always the best, most entertaining, crazy wars in the world, he's always trying to scrap. It's not always his fault that the fights are a bit boring. He just does his thing. He walks forward, teeps and jabs, and, tries to knock his opponent out, but yeah, that's sometimes the opponents just can't deal with that. Anyway, he's allergic to wrestling, refuses to change his approach in any fight, which I reckon is a sign of a BMF. He doesn't care. He just knows what he wants to do. He fights probably more than anyone else in the UFC. He's constantly sparring. Like, that's the only way he trains, is just with sparring. He's always getting up to random shit in his personal life. Controversial, based as fuck, like I said. And yeah, I reckon Sean Strickland, I'm a fan. He deserves to be in the list. At number 14, it's Joshua Van. Earned his name the Fearless for sure. This guy's been crazy active. He's basically rejuvenated the flyweight division. Look, he's usually at a height and a reach disadvantage in pretty much every one of his fights, and he constantly just stands and bangs. Like a lot of guys who've got shit reach will just look to wrestle or grapple, but no, Joshua Van, he just pops in and out, enters the fire, throws down. He had that war with Brandon Royval, which we'll never forget. One of the best fights of 2025 and maybe even of all time in flyweight. He broke Pantoja's arm just by throwing him over with absolute disregard. He's the champ of the flyweight division, and he's making flyweight great again. So I'm looking forward to his next fight against Manel Cap or Tatsuro Taira, I think it's going to be. But yeah, that's going to be a banger. Joshua Van, pretty impressive for a flyweight to be in the pound-for-pound BMF rankings. This guy deserves to be there, but not too high up the list. At number 13, Carlos the Nightmare Prates. This guy, he's definitely a BMF. He's got an insane fighting style. Just one of the most cool-looking, damaging, stylish fighting styles in the UFC right now. He fights absolutely anyone. He takes on matchups that nobody wants, like Ian Gary. He's calling out Conor McGregor. He wants a piece of Islam Makhachev. He got that sick spinning elbow KO over Jeff Neal, and he's fucking slept Leon Edwards, which definitely won him some bonus points in a lot of fans' eyes. Almost eliminated Ian Gary for us. He nearly got him out of there in round 5. That would have put him fucking way up the list. And he smokes darts like a fucking badass cunt. So yeah, Carlos Prates, BMF caliber for sure. Diego Lopez is at number 12. Just look at this bloke. He's definitely a BMF. Complete blockhead. Just marauds around the cage, touching his throat non-stop, eating shots, eating punches for breakfast with his iron chin. I've never seen him get wobbled or rocked once in a fight, and he's taken so many fucking heavy punches. John Silver was lighting him up, and Diego was just touching his throat, eating shots, moving forward. This guy, he does damage non-stop as well. Even though he didn't look too flash against Volk, you got to respect him for stepping up and fighting Volkanovski, the best to ever do it at featherweight. He fights on short notice. He took that Dan Ige fight. A lot of people gave Dan Ige credit for that, but you also got to give credit to Diego Lopez for not pulling out of that fight like a bitch. A lot of people would have pulled out of that. He fought Movsar Evloev, a pretty insane prospect, on short notice on his debut, and almost won that fight as well. Got a sick mullet and a mustache, unhinged tattoos. Yeah, Diego Lopez is definitely in the BMF discussion. If he had to beat Volk, he would have been shooting up the pound-for-pound list, but yeah, he's definitely still a BMF in my heart. At number 11, it's Charles do Bronx Oliveira. This guy's a fan favourite. He's been around forever. He's fought everybody. He's fought the who's who at lightweight and at featherweight. Every single one of his fights is always insane unless his bloody esophagus is getting snapped. In his fights, especially his later in his career, he's always going for the kill, always looking to finish, and therefore he's got the most finishes in UFC history by a few, I think, at this point. He's always fought killers as well. He's like, you go look at his resume, it is like basically a GOAT list that he's fought. You know, some of his recent killers that he's fought, even though he's lost to them all, Islam, Arman, Ilya, he's never backing away from a challenge, and now he's fighting Max Holloway. So you got to respect his strength of schedule. Look, if he takes out Max Holloway, this is going to bump him way up the list. Obviously, probably to number 1 because he's going to be the BMF champ. I don't personally see it happening, but maybe this video won't age that well. But you got to have Charles Oliveira in a BMF list. He belongs there. Respect to Bronx. At number 10, we got Dan Hooker, brah. Eshay, brah, Dan Hooker. He's fucking unhinged, this bloke. He's completely psychotic. Just look at him. He's got crazy eyes. You got to be pretty fucking crazy to have a hairdo like that as well. This guy, he's active as fuck too. Like, he had a little bit of a run of inactivity there, but recently he's been hella active. He basically got destroyed by Arman Sarukian, busted up, and then within 2 weeks he booked another fight against another dangerous dude in Benoit Saint-Denis. Got destroyed again. I don't think, you have to win every fight to be BMF. He just keeps just taking mad fights. So looking forward to see what his next one will be. He takes bulk damage in pretty much every one of his fights, and he loves it. I love this shit, boys. I love this shit. Talks shit on the mic, has a bit of a go, makes his fights interesting, looks crazy like he just had like a weird midlife crisis and got completely tattooed all over his body in the last couple of years. And yeah, he's possibly gay. I don't know if that makes him a BMF, but maybe the B and the M and the F stand for something different when it's with Dan Hooker, a big man fucker or something like that. But yeah, you got to respect Dan Hooker, man. I don't reckon there'll be many people who have a top 15 BMF list without Dan Hooker being in there. So yeah, shot Dan Hooker. Good on you, G. The man who just towed him up, but he's got to be above him on the list. I've got him one spot higher at number 9. It's Benoit Saint-Denis. Realistically, a bloke that probably will be fighting for the BMF title pretty soon. Wouldn't surprise me if he gets a shot in the next couple of years. I don't see him winning it because he's just not that good. But yeah, he's a type of fighter that deserves to fight for the BMF. He's a former Special Forces soldier. That's badass as fuck. Defending his country, taking out bad cunts. That's fucking metal as. He pretty much looks like a terrifying Kermit the Frog. I can't unsee that once you've had a look at it. Look at his ears. They're the ears of a BMF for sure. He's probably killed multiple men in his career, and he's nearly killed a few in the cage too. He's a complete savage in there. Like, he's got a sick head kick over Matt Frivola. Destroyed Dan Hooker, somehow got fucked up by Renato Moicano, but I swear, even though he got his face completely rearranged in that fight, I swear he was coming back to win that fight as well. They should have let that keep going. I reckon Benoit could have won it. His fighting style's rad. He's a complete blockhead marauder, just runs forward into the fire and looks for takedowns. He's one of the only guys who actually is an entertaining, damaging wrestler in this BMF discussion. Yeah, he just does not know how to go backwards at all. Fights killers non-stop, and he probably kills terrorists in his spare time. So Benoit Saint-Denis, absolute mad dog. He's got to be inside the top 10 for sure. At number 8, it's Waldo Cortez Acosta. Did you really think I was going to be making a BMF list without my man Waldo Cortez Acosta? This guy is built different at heavyweight. The most active heavyweight in the division, maybe of all time. He just swangs and bangs in every fight, but like with a bit of a controlled kind of, patient, actual technical and skillful heavyweight fighting style, but he's always looking for the knockout. He's got a legendary chin as well. He's taken a heap of damage and he's so good at bobbing and weaving and, lulling his opponents into a false sense of security and then just striking and knocking them out. Got to respect the fact that he went toe-to-toe with Sergey Pavlovich. That guy is dangerous as fuck, and Waldo didn't take a step back. Look, he was on the back foot skating around and kind of popping and jabbing, but he took a lot of really good shots from Sergey Pavlovich, who's a fucking dangerous Russian killer, and Waldo hung in there for 3 rounds. He took an eye poke, like this is his most BMF moment ever, took that eye poke from Ante Delija. A lot of people would have just, taken the no contest there. Waldo just takes a few bloody minutes, says he's all good, comes back and knocks out Ante Delija with the next punch he lands on him. That was fucking sick. That was up there with some of the best moments in UFC history, in my opinion. Underrated moment. And he just absolutely mogged Derek Lewis, who, is a former BMF contender as well. Like I said, he's dropped off a little bit. He's not aging all that well, but, you got to respect a guy who can make Derek Lewis look like a bitch. So Waldo Cortez Acosta, the BMF of my heart, he's definitely in the top 10. At number 7, we got Justin the Highlight Gaethje. Yeah, you got to have him in the list too. Look, it's a well-known fact that I'm not the biggest fan of Justin Gaethje. I don't know why. I still haven't quite worked it out. He's like, I don't know, he's growing on me as well, but yeah, he's got to be in the list. He's a former BMF champ, pioneered this goofy Rufus style that, Lucas Tracy loves to talk about. He's been in some insane wars as well. He's taken legendary damage in his career, been on the receiving end of one of the coolest KOs of all time. Like I said, you don't have to, be winning all your fights to be a BMF. The fact that he had that sick fight with Max Holloway and then, went into the pocket with 10 seconds to go and just swanged and banged and then ate that bloody combination that sat him down face down. Even though it's Max's moment, it's still also Justin's moment, so you got to give him credit for that. He himself has had some of his own awesome fucking moments in the UFC. Sick fights against Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier. That head kick was rad. Paddy Pimblett fight was insane. Like, a lot of people counted him out, including me, and he just whooped up Paddy Pimblett in a really entertaining fight. He's never in a boring fight, Justin Gaethje. I've got to give him that. And he does sick backflips off the octagon when he wins. So definitely deserved his BMF shot. Probably will get another one at some point. I wish they had done the Paddy fight for like a BMF contender fight instead of the interim lightweight. But here he is. He's got the interim lightweight strap on his shoulder and he's going to be fighting Ilya. I don't know. He might be moving his way back down the list after Ilya's done with him. But you never know. If he beats Ilya, dude, then, my opinion of Gaethje will be completely swung around. So I'm chucking him in at number 7, but you probably got him a bit higher in your list. At number 6, it's Petr Yan, boys. This nasty little fucker is a BMF to the core. He's a fucking epic fighter. I love watching Petr Yan fights. Got one of the coolest boxing styles. Clean, like really clean, but also dirty at the same time. Cheats in fights and just doesn't give a fuck. Like, kneed Aljo in the head, lost his belt and just looked like he didn't even faze him whatsoever. He's super active as well. He's Russian. That adds a few more mean points for him. He called O'Malley a prosky in the press conference. That was pretty funny. Look, the one thing I like about Petr Yan is how he came back from that 50-45, I'm not going to say arse whooping, but domination from Merab to beat him 50-45 in one of the sickest bantamweight title fights of all time. Epic fight, that one. It's no joke beating Merab and to 50-45 him in the way he did and completely shut him down just with boxing and counter wrestling. That was fucking rad. That shot him up a few points for sure. And yeah, we all love Petr Yan's fight style. You can't argue this guy deserves to be a BMF. He puts the fucking B in BMF for sure. Probably puts the MF in there too. He probably has already fucked your mother, this bloke. And his wife's a baddie too. So let's keep rolling on to Alex Pereira. Chama. Bro, how can you not have Poatan in your top 5 pound for pound BMF? This guy, he was already a bad cunt when he came over from Glory Kickboxing. He's got an epic legacy there, had some sick knockouts, knocked out Adesanya a couple of times as well. He's been one of the most active champions in recent UFC history. You got to give him respect for that. Also responsible for some of the coolest UFC moments of all time. That Khalil Roundtree comeback, that was epic. The easy TKO up against the fence, and of course the hold up, let me cook moment at UFC 300, knocking out Jamal Hill. Very, very satisfying knockout. Sleeping Magomed Ankalaev after losing to him by decision. Yeah, look, Poatan's one of the baddest cunts in the UFC. There's no argument with that. He's a marauder. He's completely terrifying. I've had several nightmares about this man, but at the same time, he's somehow really wholesome and nice. Yeah, nuclear power. Got the left hook of doom. and he's fighting in 3 divisions, possibly going to be the first triple champ in UFC history. If he does that, and he does it by knocking out John Jones at the White House, he'll pretty much be the GOAT of the sport and the GOAT of the BMF discussion. You might as well just give him all the belts because he will be that guy. So Alex Pereira, maybe a little bit low at number 5, but there's some mad cunts coming up ahead as well. So number 4, we got my guy, Alexander the Great Volkanovski. This guy is an underrated BMF, boys. Like, if I'm putting him above Poatan, you know that he's a dog. Now, you might argue that he hasn't had as many cool moments. He's not as, entertaining maybe. But you got to respect the fact that Alex Volkanovski has never turned down a fight. He takes on all comers, as difficult as they are, as awkward as the circumstances are. He will always take the fight, even if it's to his detriment, and he's so active when he does it. He's an old-ass unk, which makes it even more badass. He's the first guy to break the over 35 title curse in the lower divisions, and he's just living a badass life, bro. Like, you don't have to be like an evil, bad cunt to be a BMF. He's a family man. He's got a wholesome ass YouTube channel, Cooking with Volk. That's fucking metal. He stands and bangs in his fight, and even though he's a little man and a lot of he's floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee, that's he's always boxing. He's looking to do damage. He's looking to put his opponents away. He steps in on short notice, like he did against Makhachev, off the couch, flew halfway across the world to go and get his head kicked in by Islam Makhachev, the pound-for-pound number 1. Not many guys would step up and take on Islam on short notice, so yeah, he earns a couple of points there too. Took on Ilia Topuria 3 months later, again to his detriment, but fuck yeah, that's metal by Volk. I respect that. And look at his longevity as well. He's been around for ages. He's fought the who's who. He's fought Aldo, fought Holloway, beat Holloway 3 times, and Holloway is the BMF champion, damn near the BMF GOAT. You'll see him coming up in a moment. But yeah, Volk's got 3 wins over him. So anyone who can beat Max 3 times convincingly, deserves to be in the top 5 of the BMF conversation. So Volkanovski, underrated BMF. I've got him right where I reckon he belongs. Could be number 3, but I couldn't really see a reason to put Volk above Ilia Topuria after the way that Ilia done him dirty. So at number 3, we do have Ilia. Probably can't argue with this either. He's the most dangerous fighter in the UFC. The only argument you could probably say is why isn't he number 2 or number 1? He's got pound for pound, probably the heaviest hands in the UFC, which, makes him a pretty bad motherfucker. He slept Max, he slept Volk, he slept Charles. All of those guys are on the list. And, he's just a cool, calm, collected guy. I think his best work's still ahead of him too. He's probably got potential to be the UFC GOAT if he just gets a little bit more active and sorts out his bloody personal life. He's dangerous everywhere the fight goes. He bloody put Charles Oliveira into a crucifix. That was nasty. He put an absolute life-changing beating on Josh Emmett, and then he just slept those 3, goated opponents as well. And I reckon he's probably going to sleep Gaethje pretty bad as well, in just the same way that he's done those other blokes. He's dangerous everywhere. He is a BMF lord, this man, and just a lord in general. And he does not have a fucking clue who Joe is, and he doesn't even care. So BMF, pound for pound, number 3, that's got to go to Ilia Topuria. Maybe I'm a little bit biased here with number 2, but we're going to put Jiří Procházka at number 2. This ancient samurai warrior from another dimension is my favourite fighter of all time, my favourite fighter in the UFC. I hope to God that he wins at UFC 327 and knocks out Carlos Ulberg. And I like Carlos Ulberg. There's nothing against Carlos Ulberg. I just need to be living in a world where Jiří Procházka is the champ, because in my mind, this guy is the best thing about the UFC. I fucking love Jiří, and if you don't, there is something seriously wrong with you. And his fighting style is the most insane, most entertaining, violent fighting style of all time, and I refuse to hear any other arguments. There's only a couple of fighters who even come close in that discussion, and most of them are up in the top end of this list. But Jiří, if I was making a list, and I have, of the most entertaining fighters of all time, it's Jiří number 1 all fucking day. Here he is, this crazy-haired motherfucker. He's just got the most sick legacy in a short amount of time. He's got a long fighting record, but in the UFC, all of his fights have been absolutely insane. He's finished every single one of his fights, all been finished, and the only reason he gets finished is because he's trying to get the finish. He crashes in, completely kooky and unorthodox style. He's got comeback wins everywhere. That fight against Khalil Roundtree Jr., I've never felt like that way in a fight as I did watching that. And I don't even really care about Khalil that much. I wanted Jiří to win. He was getting the bloody bleeding ears boxed off him in the first 2 rounds, and my heart was pounding like crazy, because I just knew deep in my heart that Jiří was going to pull something crazy out of his ass and do something badass. And what do you know? He comes out out with one of the most badass finishing sequences of all time, and yet it's probably not even his best finishing sequence either. Like what he did against Glover Teixeira, what he did against Dominic Reyes. You cannot argue with this man. He finishes every fight in the most devastating, epic way imaginable, and I just cannot wait to see him fight. I wish he was a bit more active, but hey, he's got to live his ancient fucking samurai voodoo warlord lifestyle. Plus, he's got a bit of shit going on in his personal life at the moment. This guy is fighting for the belt, I'm pretty sure, the week that his child is due. That's badass as well. Yeah, Yuri Prohaska, number 2, pound for pound, BMF. If there was a BMF in the upper divisions, this guy, he'd be winning it. It'd be Powhatan versus Yuri. I wish they'd just run that fight over and over again. Do it a third time, do it a fourth time. I don't care who wins. I want to see that fight once a year, and I'd be a happy man. So yeah, Yuri Prohaska, let's go from that. Number 1, no surprises here whatsoever. It is Max Blessed Holloway. And we're going to find out Saturday night if this guy's still the BMF, but I'm pretty confident that he is. This might not age that well, but he's got to be the number 1 BMF in the UFC right now. He's got the belt over his shoulder. And honestly, even if he didn't have the belt over his shoulder, it'd be him or Yuri anyway, and probably go to Max Holloway. Maybe not. I'd probably go with Yuri, to be honest, because I'm completely biased towards Yuri. He's my favourite fighter. But Max has got to be my number 2, I reckon. And he just embodies the BMF, man. Like what he did at UFC 300 was the sickest KO in UFC history by far. You know, there's been some other ones, but just they had the right man for that moment. I'm so glad they put Max versus Justin on that card. A lot of people were whinging about that fight, probably including me, but I ate every single one of those words because Max just knows what he needs to do to be a badass, and he knows how to bring the heat in a big moment, and his career is going to go down as probably the most legendary in UFC history. He's also got the most badass like single fight schooling in UFC history with his whooping of Calvin Kattar. If you haven't seen that fight, man, go and watch that fight. That is absolutely insane work that he did in that fight. He's got insane longevity as well and a crazy resume. Go and look at his resume. It'll blow your mind. He's got one of the most entertaining fight styles of all time, like not in the same way as Yuri does. Like Yuri's like, is he going to get knocked out? Is he going to knock his opponent out? Max is just, he's going to sit there and just whoop you up and school you and talk shit the whole fight and just put on a clinic, and it's so good to watch. If you like boxing and you like stand-up and you like MMA, then yeah, you can't possibly physically hate Max Holloway. He doesn't wrestle at all. I've never seen him shoot a takedown once. Maybe he tried against Ilya when he was like half knocked out, but I'm pretty sure it was just like, he wasn't really trying to wrestle. He was just trying to survive. He's a chill dude on the weekend too. Like he just games, surfs. His wife is probably pound for pound the hottest like wag in UFC history, so you got to give him that as well. That's pretty fucking BMF material right there. Yeah, there's no argument here, boys. If you can think of a good argument as to why Max Holloway shouldn't be the BMF number 1, then you're going to have to be pretty compelling, because I probably won't believe it, but chuck them down in the comments below. So yeah, that's about it, boys. That's my list of the pound for pound top 15 BMF contenders. Tell me down in the comments, did I miss anyone? Make sure you like the vid, subscribe to Punch-Ons too, hit us up on Instagram. Hope you enjoyed the vid this week, boys. Hope the BMF card this weekend's pretty rad as well. We're going to find out Saturday night. I'll see you boys on the next fucking balls up of a video. Punch on.